Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Hey, Black, I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Wednesday, November 5th, 2025, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Massive wins for Democrats on Election Day. We'll be joined by House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Also, Virginia House Speaker of the House, Don Scott, talking about those victories and what is next. The twice-impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief, Donald Trump, wants Republicans to get rid of the Senate filibuster rule and move swiftly to pass voter reform after Tuesday's losses. Ain't gonna happen, player. The Supreme Court heard oral arguments in the legality of Donald Trump's tariffs imposed by, first of all, Donald Trump's tariffs and whether he has the authority to impose them. A ProPublica reporter will explain how black folks in Memphis are not feeling safe as federal troops and the state task force have been patrolling the streets. Plus, a white Ohio police officer is facing a jury for killing a black pregnant woman suspected of shoplifting. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
In Memphis, National Guard troops and more than 30 local, state, and federal agencies have descended upon the streets of that city as a result of the orders of the twice-impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald Trump, of course, partner with Tennessee Governor Bill Lee. The order has some folks in Memphis saying the effort has made them feel less safe, describing indiscriminate and intimidating encounters with law enforcement. As of October 29th, the task force reports 1,744 arrests. Officials admit they do not track the racial demographics of those stopped or detained. The folks at ProPublica published an article called "I Don't Feel Safe. Black Memphis Residents Report Harassment by Trump's Police Task Force." Wendy Thomas is one of the investigative reporters on the story. Wendy joins us right now. Wendy, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks, Roland.
All right, so what the hell is going on?
Well, we're about a month in now to the Safe Memphis Task Force, Memphis Safe Task Force, which has been on the ground since September 29th. We're talking about 31 law enforcement agencies, everything ranging from Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency to FBI, ATF, all your alphabet boys here in Memphis, ostensibly to fight violent crime. But what we found out from our reporting is that a lot of regular, ordinary folks are getting ensnared in those task force operations, just as folks are going about their daily business.
Okay, so and see, this is the same thing happened in D.C. So the setup is, they're coming to focus on violent crime, and they end up making a whole bunch of small arrests.
Yeah, we're seeing some of that same thing here. The data, as you mentioned in the intro, coming out from the task force is really spotty, and so it's hard to get a complete picture of what's going on. But some of the data that we do have show that this is about maybe 2 weeks ago, they had made, I'm going to say around 1,500 arrests, but that's off of, I think it was 800 arrests actually. It was after more than 4,000 traffic stops. And so what we're seeing is there are a lot of traffic stops, usually initiated by Tennessee Highway Patrol, but then the feds are showing up afterwards and going further. And there's a concern that a lot of these stops are pretextual stops.
Okay, and so what are people saying, and are they reporting this to anyone in terms of them feeling unsafe? And so how are they tracking those complaints?
That's a good question, how those complaints are being tracked, because it is so many different federal agencies, and often the federal officers are not wearing identifying clothing. So you don't even know necessarily what agency it is that has stopped you. And so I think that's a barrier to filing complaints. I'm hearing a lot of complaints from folks on the street who are concerned about these stops, but as far as some kind of formal government reporting database, I'm not aware of one.
Okay, here you got, largely black city council. You got a black mayor, Paul Young. We still waiting for him to come on this show to talk about this here. You got black city council members. What are they saying?
Well, the Memphis City Council, some of the members on there did try to introduce a resolution asking for kind of just it really was just going to be a pro forma statement, wouldn't be binding in any way, to oppose the National Guard coming. And the majority black city council, majority Democrat, was able to get enough votes to pass that motion. And I think there are residents in the community, particularly community activists, organizers, who are really disappointed by that. It was going to be purely symbolic, and that you can't get a majority elected body in a majority black city to support that, I think, was disappointing. The council member that brought that forward was J.B. Smiley, and he's actually running for county mayor. And so it'll be interesting to see how these dynamics play out in the political space in next year's county races.
So any idea how long will this federal intervention last? Is there a deadline?
That's a good question. The governor of Tennessee, Bill Lee, who's a Republican, has said that while the surge of officers will decline at some point, he expects the coordination with the task force to last forever. Forever was the word that he used. And so I think that is also creating a great deal of uncertainty among residents who feel like they're being surveilled. Like, is this going to be a permanent thing, or will there be some end to this insight?
Wow. That is obviously a whole lot. Community groups, civil rights groups, are they mobilizing, organizing, or are they doing anything to help residents?
Yeah, Memphis has a great tradition of protesting and activism, of course. The organization that I founded 8 years ago, MLK 50, Justice Through Journalism, is in the memory and honor of Dr. Martin Luther King, who, of course, came to Memphis to support striking sanitation workers. And so we have that tradition and legacy here in Memphis. And so you have seen community organizers rise up around that. There's a campaign called Free the 901. 901 is the area code here in Memphis. And that's a coalition, I think, more than 20 organizations that have come together to protest what they see as an occupation and militarization of Memphis. And I think one of their primary concerns is that no one disputes, Roland, that crime is high in Memphis. No one disputes that. I think the challenge becomes in what is the solution to that? Is it just police? Is it just more law enforcement? And I think the Free the 901 campaign would want to see more examination of the root causes of crime, particularly poverty, in a city that still has a really high poverty rate. And so they're looking at things like violence interruption, more investment in education, mental health care, healthcare access, mass transit, and those kind of broader solutions, I think, have been absent. The conversation that's been dominated by task force, federal agents, and what some feel is a militarization of this community.
Our panel is Rebecca Carruthers, President, CEO, Fair Election Center out of D.C. Also joining us is Cameron Trimble, CEO, HIP Politics and Media, and former White House Senior Advisor. Niambi Carter, Associate Professor, School of Public Policy, University of Maryland, author of American While Black, African Americans, Immigration, The Limits of Citizenship. Rebecca, your question for Wendy.
Wendy, thank you for being on the show tonight. As we prepare for next year, I'm thinking about how the midterms elections have started right now, and you're talking about your city and a lot of people feeling scared. Do you think there's going to be an impact in civic engagement over the next 12 months? I mean, I hear you about how community is doing different community care things, but what is the policy action that people are going to be pressed to move on in response to what's happening in Memphis right now?
Yeah, I think you will see. I mean, I'm not a pollster. I'm just an investigative journalist. But I would be surprised if this did not result in more political involvement here in Memphis. You know, we are gearing up for more local races, county commission, school board. And so while not necessarily statewide races, we are gearing up for that. And I think a lot of residents are looking to see where candidates are standing on some of these key issues. Are they looking for more holistic solutions to crime, or do they favor an approach that Trump and Bill Lee and other Republicans are offering here? So it'll be interesting to see.
Cameron.
Thank you. This is a really interesting report. Question: what areas as this presence increased? Like I visit Memphis often, have family there, and it feels like this is as it was here for us in DC, an intimidation tactic, or it's something just show of force? Like, is this like just limited to, say, the high traffic areas like a Beale Street in downtown, or are they really focusing on a lot of the black neighborhoods or low income neighborhoods?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question. I was actually at the Grizzlies game on Monday and walked down Beale Street and saw, I think it was 3 or 4 Memphis police officers, mounted police officers on horses, some FBI agents, Homeland Security agents, and then National Guardsmen at every kind of corner around there. And so you are seeing that heavy presence downtown on Beale Street in a tourist area, but you're also seeing it in a lot of Hispanic neighborhoods along corridors where there are a lot of Hispanic or immigrant-owned communities. You are seeing it in some of the higher crime neighborhoods, but in a lot of the lower crime and predominantly white neighborhoods, to be frankly, you're not seeing that sort of presence. And so I think it's almost like the blind men and the elephant, right? And so there are segments of the community that aren't seeing any sort of increased law enforcement presence. And so I think for them, it's really easy to feel like it's not a militarization, but then for others of us who are seeing that constantly, I think they're more concerned about what this means and what public safety really looks like.
Niambi?
Thank you, Wendy. I was just curious about how you connect the presence of the National Guard and other things, along with like the data centers. Like, how is Memphis being used politically right now? Not just in the state of Tennessee, but nationally for other ends. Like, how do you connect these various, I guess you could say, experiments, for lack of a better word, on the city of Memphis?
Yeah, it's really interesting that you bring up XAI and data centers. XAI is Elon Musk's big foray into artificial intelligence. It's, I think, the largest supercomputer in the world. That's what it's been billed as. And it's been built in Southwest Memphis, in a neighborhood that has already suffered a lot of environmental pollution, environmental racism. And actually the story that I wrote before this task force story was about that data center and the Chamber of Commerce's role in kind of smoothing the path for Elon Musk and XI to come here. As far as some kind of larger plan, I am not personally aware of one, but I think that there are a lot of residents who do feel like Memphis is somehow become a focus. I don't want to say necessarily a target, but that maybe richer people have noticed and aware of some of the advantages the community has, particularly our water supply. We have an amazing aquifer under here, and data centers need a lot of water, right? A lot of people don't think it's a mistake that Elon is here, and they wonder if this expanded military presence is in part to protect property and these capital investments and not necessarily the people who live here in this community.
All right, then. All right, Wendy, we certainly appreciate it. Keep us abreast of what happens.
Of course. Thank you so much, Roland.
All right, thanks so much. All right, folks, going to a break. We come back, lots to talk about. Continuing drama in D.C. with the government shutdown. Also, of course, a huge election last night. Lots to talk about there. We're going to be joined by Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Virginia Speaker of the House, Don Scott. It's a whole lot to cover. Folks, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
Hi, I'm Lavelle Crawford. I ain't wearing a bow tie today because I wanted to breathe. And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, last night, huge election took place all across the country. A lot of races, 190 different elections, statewide races, county races, judicial races, you name it. And if you spent any time on Elon Musk's Twitter, because he's been force-feeding the right wing to all of our accounts, oh, my God, the tears. Oh, the orange tears. It has been hilarious to sit here and listen to all of these people. Look at this right here. Go to my iPad. Look at this here. And I just pulled it up, y'all. You got Chip Roy of Texas. If Texas fails, America fails. The Muslim Brotherhood sees Dallas as ground zero for spreading Islamism across the West. They're planting seeds in Texas, and we need to root them out now. Then had Republicans stuck with Mark Robinson post-scandal like Democrats did Jay Jones post-scandal. We probably could have salvaged some down-ballot races and while still losing the governorship. Just saying. Let's see here. Where we go? Let's see. How about this one here? Here we go again. What about laws against fraud? Why is no one enforcing them? Pam Bondi, Winsome Sears, Virginia has probably been stolen. Yeah, that's why you don't have your law license, Sidney Powell. Let's see. Oh, my goodness. Look at this here. Matt Walsh, that racist. This is the enemy. Wretched, evil parasites motivated by resentment and hatred, openly plotting to erase our culture and identity and replace it with a dystopian communist hodgepodge of third world dysfunction. This is the fight for now and the future. Get in the game. This is it. They're all upset because of this comment by Mehdi Hassan. Let me go ahead and actually play it for you. This is what drove Matt Walsh crazy. Listen. Because her mic was jacked up. But Mehdi has said, Americans have no culture except for multiculturalism. Jennifer Welch, too, Mehdi, she said, Americans have no culture for multiculturalism. Crusty white people need to learn how to embrace it. Touche. Look at this here. Conspicuously absent from his list are Americans. Let's see here. Look at this here. Look at this racist. Folks, just admitted, America was a much better country when it was 85% white. And let me just go ahead. And you prove, what's his name? 1776. Real. You know, I might as well do it. That you are a racist. Yes, I've been trolling their asses all day. Look at this. Leftist student just flipped over a TPUSA table at University of Iowa. Iowa must charge and expel her and make her famous. Let's see here. Oh, Zohran Mamdani does 4 Nazi salutes in a row after his New York City mayoral victory speech. Isn't that what the left claims Elon did? We didn't make the rules. Hope the left is consistent. Let's see here. Of course, no shock, Stephen A. Smith will be talking to Jim Jordan and Mike Johnson on his show. No shock, he'll be talking to MAGA day after the election. Let's see here. Oh, look at old Curtis Houck. Hogan Gidley on Democrats winning in New Jersey and New York, decrying high cost of living. I think this is interesting because, as you know, prices for gas and groceries down under Donald Trump. That's a lie. Inflation's down under Donald Trump. Hogan, that's a lie. Interest rates are coming down as well. That's a lie. Come on, Hogan, you know better. Stop lying. All they did, I mean, it's just Niambi. Twitter, they have been crying, whining, oh, God, Virginia. They're like, all of this here. Texas is full. North Carolina's full. Florida's full. Don't come here. Y'all stay in New York. I mean, the whining is amazing. I'm like, guess what? A hashtag team whip that ass. Suck it up.
Well, as you know, my father used to say, it's no fun when the rabbit got the gun, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, look, this is politics, right? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But when you have a government shutdown, when you have people not getting paid, when you have people who are furloughed, when you've laid off, thousands upon thousands of federal workers, and you keep telling us there is no way we can afford SNAP. You don't want to use the contingency fund, but you can build a ballroom and you can send billions of dollars to Argentina. You should not expect to win. You are failing on every dimension. This is politics, pure and simple. This is what happened when, quite frankly, Republicans won. Republicans don't do half measures, right? They promised people a lot. They told people what they were going to do and people voted for it. The same thing happened in New Jersey, New York, Mississippi, and all these other places. People made a promise and people voted for that promise. So this is what happens in politics. You don't get to whine and cry. You re-up for the next election.
I mean, I have been cracking up laughing, Rebecca, at all of their whining. I mean, it's been, the last 24 hours has been quite enjoyable.
Roland, I'm in California today, and it's not every election that Californians get a vote on something on their ballot that's going to impact the entire country. People are fired up, ready to go. They're rolling up their sleeves and like, bring 2026 on. Look, you can't be cruel to people. You can't have ICE agents in pickup lines after school and ripping parents out of their front seats while they're just trying to pick their kids up from school. You cannot have a military helicopter land on top of an apartment building. You cannot not only not fund SNAP benefits this month, but then make sure that the remaining funds on the particular SNAP card is turned off and doesn't work. It's not accessible, right? You can't do these things and not expect people to react negatively to it. And so I think this is what we're seeing in this country right now. We're seeing the tenor has gotten so toxic, and it's been driven by the bully pulpit of this administration. And now, last night, we had 39 states, and people took it out on the ballot. And quite frankly, that's how you want people to take it out. You want people to use their First Amendment right to vote to respond to what's happening. You don't want them to get into those other amendments. And so, last night we saw that many Americans went to the ballot booth and said that they want to vote for the democracy that they're yearning for, not the democracy that we've had previously. They're not looking to vote for the status quo, but they're looking to vote for the future and what this whole experiment should look like.
Well, y'all, to me, I just think it's been funny. It's just, again, they're just losing their shit, and it's kind of like, sorry, excuse me, and they're mad, and guess what? Your candidate sucked. And not only the candidate sucked, Cameron, here's what also jumps out. Trump lied. Oh, I'm bringing everything down day one. All those lies, people kind of like, yo, player, what happened? So Biden got hurt. Harris got hurt because of inflation in the economy. Guess what? Now it's their turn. When you're in power, guess what? You get the credit when things go wonderful. You get the blame when things go bad.
That's right. I think it always comes down to kind of the economy, stupid, that famous phrase. But it feels good right now to get on social, to see the joy. I've seen so many different memes and so many different things shared from around the country, even in states where there weren't contentious elections and so forth, that people are just feeling some joy. And I think we should revel in it for a day or two. I love some of the historic wins. I know we're so focused on Virginia. Shout out to Prop 50. But when I think about some historic firsts, like I'm actually here reporting from Syracuse, New York. Sharon Owens is the first black mayor in this city's history that was just elected last night. Albany elected a black woman mayor. So there is also, I think the black community has a lot to be proud of up and down the ballot. But I just want to offer, not to tamper on the parade, but the caution. Like, this is not a time to just celebrate and let our foot off the gas. This is our time to kind of double down, really understand how we won this time, really understand how our candidates won, what tactics worked, what we can learn in this modern day and age. Because I still have a little PTSD from the 2022 midterms where we saw a blue wave with Biden, and we probably celebrated a little bit too much, and then we kind of got whiplashed in 2024. So this is a time where we must continue our organizing, continue our double down on talking to folks, continue to show up in these communities, showing up in our community and black community, continue the advertising blitz. We've got to do more, because the fight, while we see this as a great for lack of a better term, I would say this is a kind of a great bellwether for 2026 with Republicans. And I'm sure Trump sees this as oh, my tactics weren't working before. I might double down and make it even harsher, more voter intimidation, more ways to strip and suppress votes. So I think we've got even harder work ahead of us this year, because they realize how this blue wave and this black wave, I would say, that happened last night. Believe you me, they're starting day one and looking for ways to reverse that next year.
Yeah, and listen, there's some people, who need to recognize that. First of all, I do think you have to, you have to enjoy. You do have to enjoy wins. Those things are important. And the reason I think you have to enjoy wins is because you deal with losing. And I think, Rebecca, it's also momentum. You build from that. You see the freaking out of the right. You see all of a sudden them going, hey, we got to kind of start discussing affordability. And let's be real clear. You're going to see also them have to confront the government shutdown. Do y'all have the audio? And let me be real clear. If you're Democrats, do me a favor. Do not listen to people like Charlemagne the God. Okay? So Charlemagne was talking about this government shutdown, and he made a comment as relate to what Democrats should be doing. Y'all have that? Okay, play it.
You know what I don't understand, Mimi, and I don't know, maybe you can explain it to me. The health care is going to go up anyway because of the big, beautiful bill, because that didn't include the extension of the tax credits to keep the cost down. So if it's going up anyway, what's the point of Democrats taking the stand to keep the government still closed?
At this point, you're right, because the premiums, which the open enrollment started this weekend, November 1st. And so people are getting those letters in the mail. In fact, one person in Utah, a woman in Utah, she told ABC News that she opened her bill and saw that her monthly premium had already jumped from about $400 a month, Charlemagne, to over $2,000 a month. And so at this point, it's like, what's going to happen? Is it retroactive? Like, how is this going to work as we continue to go forward? So you're absolutely right.
And the premiums are set for a year. So at this point, if the premiums have already gone up, if they set for a year, at least give the people some relief and get the government back open.
Do not listen to what the hell he just said. That, to me, is beyond idiotic because this battle that we're seeing is not solely about health care. Rebecca, I don't know what the hell that was. That was just bullshit.
Look, what I heard was an exchange of two people who don't understand how this works. So what they're talking about are the health insurance premiums that are in the marketplace. The marketplaces are the state exchanges. The state exchanges is because of Obamacare, aka the Affordable Care Act. Here's the thing. Those premiums are effective January 1, 2026. You get about 60 days notice in most states. Some states put out their new expected premiums back in October, some kind of at the end of September. But this is giving notice of, hey, if you continue at the level of health insurance plan that you have, this is what you're going to start to pay effective January 1. And so the erroneous, I mean, this isn't just misinformation here. This starts to look like this is intentional disinformation. And for the audience, disinformation is where you have bad, misleading information that's intentionally targeted to a certain demographic. The demographic here is Black voters. The reason why is the Black voters are the base of the Democratic Party. Right now, the Democrats are in lockstep saying that, no, we're not going to give you the votes that you need in order to end this government shutdown. You Republicans need to come to us and work out a deal. And so by trying to talk to Black folks, to them Black folks can then talk to Democratic members of the House and Democratic members of the Senate to get Democrats to back down. That's what Charlemagne is trying to do here. What should happen, if I was advising the Democratic Party, is tell them, hey, look, there are some Republicans who have introduced clean resolution plus extension of the health insurance credits, sorry, not health insurance credits, but some of the discounts that the government will pay. So people aren't paying those exorbitant health insurance prices starting January 1. So this is disinformation that we're seeing that Charlemagne is doing. This is not just mistaken information. This is intentional, going after Black voters.
Niambi, the reason I think it's bad advice is because when you are in political battles, you maximize your leverage. And when you are fighting on behalf of people, they understand that there are people who are not getting benefits. They know there are federal workers who are not getting their paychecks as well. But they also are dealing with an administration that's been slashing and burning and firing people indiscriminately as well. So all this is wrapped up. So what you do not do is you do not capitulate. You do not back down. You don't go, oh, well, you know what, hey, we'll just go ahead and pack it in. No. You try to get as much as you can.
Well, absolutely. And this is why Wendy Williams' sidekick should not be trusted with political information. I've long had a beef with Charlemagne, so let's just stop there. But I will say this is the exact point. This is why people need to do what it is that they do well. And when you don't understand health insurance or politics, you don't do that. You do entertainment news. Because what this is about is the fact that Republicans want those premiums to go up and want them to go up permanently. That's why we're in this shutdown fight. That's why it's protracted. It is not on Democrats to just say, well, we'll give up everything so we can just open the government. That's not going to do anything for people come January when those insurance premiums go into effect. And the reason that people have been able to enjoy health care through the Affordable Care Act exchanges has largely been because of this subsidizing. And we did it during COVID. We can continue doing it. Republicans don't want to do it because they want to transfer money to their wealthy donors in the wealthy class. That is the conversation. And if you're not having that conversation, then you're not being sincere, and you are certainly doing a disservice to the millions of listeners who come on that show. And this might be the only bit of political news they get. And some of those very same listeners are getting their insurance through these exchanges. So this is irresponsible at best. It's malfeasance at worst. And I think this is what burns me up about this kind of stuff, is because expertise has gone out the window. Good journalism has gone out the window in favor of entertainment. These are people's real lives. Charlemagne will be able to pay for insurance any day of the week. He is a wealthy man. But most people who have to rely on these exchanges will not be able to do the same if the Democrats cave in and give the Republicans what they want right now, which is to have those premiums go up and have them go up with permanently, essentially.
And when you are winning the argument, when you are controlling the narrative, Cameron, you don't just say, here you go, take it away.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I think this is politics 101. Unfortunately, like, the pain is very real across the country due to the government shutdown. The pain is very real state to state, as so many millions of people of all races are being hurt by SNAP benefits. The pain is really real for travelers who have hours and hours of waits and delays because of TSA workers and air traffic controllers are not getting paid. It is definitely impacting even my own family. My sister's a nurse in the military. She has not received her paycheck. I've got plenty of friends who are active duty who are not receiving their paychecks. But all that aside, we have complained and we have seen how Trump has slashed education budgets, slashed healthcare budgets, has done so much to eliminate tens of thousands of jobs, not just in the government, and then all the ecosystems that when those government jobs, it's not just the person in the house loses their jobs, the restaurants they go to, the child care center they could afford to used to send their kids to, and now they can't. So many other people are affected when all of these folks are losing their jobs. And Democrats, for once, have both the narrative on their side, because guess what? Republicans control the House, they control the Senate, they control the White House, and even though this is supposed to be nonpartisan, they control the Supreme Court as well. So they have all the levers of power. That it is on them to come up with something if they want to really reopen the government. But they realize that it is so untenable, especially when these ACA subsidies end at the end of the year, and they are hearing it in their districts that I can't afford a 50, 100, 150% increase in my health care. I'm going to have to come off of health care. And then hopefully I keep a job. I hope I keep my job that may be subsidized in the health care. And small businesses and large businesses are looking at to what levels they're going to fund their employees' health care because those costs are going up. So this is an opportunity where they need to do, and at the Democratic Party, and I think they've been doing a good job, they can continue to even do better and do more to educate people on exactly why the government is shut down, what they are fighting for, and what they hope to see if Republicans are to expect any votes from Democrats to reopen the government.
All right, folks, going to a break. We come back. We're going to hear from Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Also, top of the hour, we'll hear from Virginia Speaker of the House, Don Scott, after a massive haul on Tuesday night. So lots to break down right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible for us to do the stories that matter to you. You want to contribute via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here in the bottom left-hand corner. You can use that for credit cards as well. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Checks and money orders make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. Back in a moment.
Said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
What's up? It's the MCEO Talib Kweli. You are checking out Roland Martin Unfiltered.
As I said, huge wins last night for Democrats. Virginia, New Jersey, local races, school board races all across the country. And it bodes well heading to 2026. Joining us right now is House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Glad to have you on the show. This was interesting with last night, and we already seen it. You got the right and Fox News, they all going, the face of the Democratic Party is Zohran Mamdani. But last I checked, you had Mary Sheffield in Detroit win last night. You had, as Cameron said earlier, a sister in Syracuse, a sister in Albany, New York. You had a Democrat in Cincinnati, a Democrat in Pittsburgh, Andre Dickens in Atlanta, an incumbent one in Cleveland. So this idea that you only had one person win mayor last night who's a Democrat is kind of stupid.
Absolutely. Democrats won across the country and up and down the ballot, and decisively. Now, the thing that connected these Democratic victories are, one, an embrace by the American people of the fact that we're focused on the issues that matter. Driving down the high cost of living, life has become more expensive under Donald Trump and Republican policies, not less expensive, despite their promise to lower costs on day one. We're focused on driving down the high cost of living. That was the case in New York City. That was the case in New Jersey. That was the case in Virginia and across the country with the mayors that you mentioned who successfully won all across America. And, of course, we're going to stay on the case as it relates to protecting the health care of the American people and decisively addressing the Republican health care crisis. It was also a rejection of Republican extremism, their assault on all the things, including the economy, on voting rights, on, nutritional assistance, on veterans, on farmers, on the American way of life, on law-abiding immigrant communities, and of course on democracy itself. So it was a big night for the American people, and of course was a big night for the Democratic Party.
Not just that. And when we talk about races, and again, we spent a lot of time. Everybody obviously was focused on these statewide races. Cheryl winning the governor's race in New Jersey, Spanberger in Virginia, and of course, Jay Jones, Attorney General in Virginia, the Lieutenant Governor as well. But the thing that also jumps out to me, this is a go to my iPad. This is a headline in the Charlotte Observer. Charlotte's blue wave tells a national story on Donald Trump, and it details what happened last night. All across North Carolina, Democrats also won local races. You get the 3 Supreme Court races in Pennsylvania. And so the mistake that I think people make is that they say, well, New Jersey, very blue. Virginia, somewhat blue. But you have to also look at local. When you start seeing big wins in school board races, DA races, city council races, seats flipping, you saw, look, 2 wins in Mississippi where they broke the Republican supermajority there as well. That also speaks to the mood of the people on the ground. And everybody keeps focusing on D.C. as opposed to what's happening locally.
There's no doubt about it. And what we saw was a high degree of Democratic energy, independent voters swinging in our direction decisively. And of course, communities that Republicans thought they had a chokehold on in terms of the support of the Latino community broke back towards Democrats. Working class Americans breaking back toward Democrats. Young people, young white males breaking toward Democrats. And this is happening all across America. In Onondaga County, which is in central New York, the control of the state legislature was flipped for the first time in 40 years. In Georgia, we saw Democrats win statewide office for the first time in 20 years. In Pennsylvania, a state that Donald Trump just won, the Democratic candidates who are on the ballot for the state Supreme Court, 3 of them won decisively. You mentioned, Roland, what happened in Mississippi in terms of breaking the Republican supermajority. This is a story that has occurred all across the country. And the California ballot initiative was incredibly significant in that turnout was higher in many parts of the state for Prop 50 to stop Trump from stealing the election than it had been last November in a presidential election. That is unheard of. That's Democratic energy. That's the American people recognizing we're in the midst of a national nightmare, and the only way to turn things around is to throw Republican extremists out of office.
There have been a couple of reports that have come out in the last week or so saying that Democrats should be focusing on centrist ideas and leaving identity politics, all kind of stuff along those lines. And this is what we said last night. Zohran Mamdani ran an unbelievable campaign in New York where he was focused on affordability and the needs of the people. If you take a Spanberger or a Sherrill, they run a centrist race. If you take someone is another part of the country, they run a different race. I think it's dumb when these, and I'm just going to say it, when these largely white Democratic strategists sit around and say, this is how Democrats have to run. No, you run based upon the makeup of your congressional district, your state, or your state district, or your state senate. I think it's dumb to think that there's only one way to do it. There are going to be some places that are more progressive than others, some places more centrist than others. And so to me, you find the candidate who runs according to their district and not some cookie cutter map.
I think that's exactly right, Roland. And it's intellectually lazy when some of these so-called consultants think that there's a one-size-fits-all approach in a country that is the most diverse in the history of the world across the 50 states and the multiple jurisdictions. And so for us, however, I think what's going to be critical as we are recruiting candidates to flip seats and take back the House next year is that those candidates and their life experiences authentically match the districts that they hope to represent. Because after all, the House of Representatives was designed by the framers to be the institution closest to the American people, to reflect the hopes, the dreams, the aspirations, the fears, the concerns, the anxieties, and the passions of the American people. And there are 435 congressional districts, and every one is going to be different. That doesn't mean that we can't unite under a frame of dealing with the issues that matter to the American people. And for us, of course, that's making life more affordable.
We saw a lot. We saw a significant black turnout last night in Virginia and New Jersey as well. What I also look at last night, and matter of fact, a lot of people were concerned about Mamdani in New York. Looks like, based upon the polling data, the highest percentage of votes he got last night were African Americans. And again, I think last night, what last night says, again, I'm going to say it again to those white Democratic strategists, they better understand you better put time, money, and resources into your base voters, black women, black men, young people, reaching those folks. Because if you turn out your base voters, then you have a better shot as opposed to trying to appeal to folks who are not your base. Go after New York City. Look at those numbers. Those low propensity voters, those young voters who sat out, that means a message and a candidate appealing to them. That's the strategy to victory. Your thoughts?
Yeah. For us to win elections, particularly as it relates to taking back the House of Representatives, we have to do two things. Keep the base energized and move swing voters in our direction. But the foundation for any electoral success, to your point, Roland, is to make sure we have an energized base. And at the heart of that energized base are African American women who once again delivered for Democratic candidates all across the country, up and down the ballot.
Last question for you. I played a clip earlier. Charlamagne the God made this comment saying that Democrats should back off what's happening with health care in the House and just go ahead and end this government shutdown. I called it pretty much stupid and idiotic because I said you're fighting for millions of people. This is a life and death matter. When it comes to this shutdown, did last night put more wind in your sails to keep fighting?
Yeah, we're going to continue to stay in this fight until we win this fight. And we've made clear, look, we'll sit down with our colleagues on the other side of the aisle anytime, any place to reopen the government, to enact a spending agreement that makes life better for the American people while decisively addressing the Republican healthcare crisis that's crushing people all across America. We've got to ensure that we extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Otherwise, tens of millions of people are going to experience dramatically increased healthcare premiums, copays, and deductibles. And it's unfortunate that some are parroting MAGA extremist Donald Trump-like talking points.
20 seconds left. Did you call Speaker of the House, Don Scott of Virginia, to say, bruh, even though you're a Kappa, he's an Alpha, hell of a job picking up 13 seats?
Don Scott is a great legislative leader, one of the best in the country. He and I are in close touch. I, of course, congratulated him. You're a frat brother. We're all united on this.
Man, no, he pledged the same chapter. Same chapter, Texas A&M. That's my Pi O brother.
He's a good man. And Texas A&M is doing their thing right now in football too, Roland.
Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate it. He's actually up next, and so we appreciate you joining us.
Appreciate you.
All right, thanks a lot. Real quick to the panel here. Listen, this is about winning. And the point there that Democratic leader Jeffries made, I think, is important, Cameron. Screw these consultants. Forget this. You got to do this. You got to do that. That speech Mom Donnie said last night, he didn't give a shit about people talking about, oh, no, don't do identity politics. He said he named people. And again, you run based upon your district. A Connor Lamb, when he was in Congress, his district ain't the same as a Maxine Waters. A Sanford Bishop in Georgia, his district isn't the same as Nikema Williams. People just got to understand that.
No, yeah. I mean, as a consultant myself who's had to fight that fight internally, people get a risk averse. I mean, you know, I'm here. I served as the director of digital engagement and in the Biden White House, and I run a digital firm. And there's so much, and there's so many people who are scared to do anything outside of what was approved in the last cycle or anything outside of the norm, and they don't realize candidates and the folks that are closest to the ground, closest to the districts, understand the voice of the people. They understand who the real validators are. They understand how to reach and talk to their voters. This is not a national campaign. Even though this is a national wave, these are a national energy that has been siphoned and that has been siphoned to individual votes and districts. And I think what hopefully soon to be Speaker, but Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said there is that, and I really hope that his caucus and others recruit candidates and support early investment in candidates and early investments in talking to the Black community. Black folks are the base of the Democratic Party. Hard stop. So we can't come in and start asking for votes in August, in September, October with just GOTV. We need to continue to stay in community, continue to show up, continue to communicate aggressively across all channels, both in real life and in advertising, and authentically, community to community.
The thing for me, the thing from here in Niambi is authentic candidates with an authentic message can win. And if I am a Democratic candidate around the country, I would shut the hell up complaining about a Mamdani, and I would be studying every aspect of his campaign to say, how did he do it?
Mm-hmm. But I think this is a point that you've made time and time again, Roland. We've talked about this before. One thing you can never forget, that all politics is local.
Yep.
And one of the things that Mamdani did was say, I care about the people of New York City. I'm not talking about this international stuff. I'm not doing this over here. I'm talking about what my constituents in New York City care about: affordability, childcare, food, right? All of these things are local things. And yes, does it have national implications? Sure. But you have to think about where you live. Spanberger worked in Virginia because that is what Virginia wanted. That is what Virginia needed, a more moderate Democrat. Mamdani wouldn't have worked there. And I think one of the things that we come to over and over again is that people forget about the local, right? Tip O'Neill said it or popularized it. And it's been an adage for a reason, because I don't care about what's happening in Washington or what is happening in California or some other place. I care about what is happening right here, right now. If my kids can't eat, if I can't afford childcare, if I don't have access to transportation, that's the stuff that is going to make a difference in my life, not any of this other stuff that you're telling me I should care about. And I think consultants need to listen more and talk less. And one of the things they have to absolutely do is spend money on Black media. We talk about this over and over again. You cannot expect Black people to keep coming to the well when you don't want to spend any of those ad dollars or any of that time in our communities.
Again, Rebecca, focus on your base voters. That is your starting point.
So, Roland, on one side in Kentucky, we heard the stories about there were Republican voters who thought that they were having elections this year, and then they thought the New York mayor's race was going to be on their ballot in these fake elections that they conjured up and thought that they were having. But here's the reason why they thought the New York mayor's race was going to be on the Kentucky ballot is because the level of misinformation and disinformation that's coming from Fox, from OAN, from Newsmax, and from all of those conservative voices. So for anybody who's on the ballot in 2026, listen to the would-be voters that you're trying to court. Listen to the things that they're asking, that they're saying that they need in effective government, and then figure out a plan to actually deliver those things to them. You don't have to hire a bunch of consultants who are going to just tell you a bunch of national issues, but you literally need to listen to your actual voters. Because after all, voters should be voting for candidates. Candidates shouldn't be trying to draw up who their voter is going to be in order to get elected. But if people keep things simple, they go in at the ballot next year.
We're talking about Virginia, and my next guest, trust me, he is real happy today after massive pickups last night in the Virginia House. 2 years ago, there was a narrow victory for House Democrats in Virginia. Don Scott, as a result, became the Speaker of the House. Well, this time ain't narrow at all. Some of the biggest pickups in more than 40 years, solidifying his role as Speaker of the House. He joins us right now. Don, first of all, congrats. You got to be feeling real good.
Man, if you had my hand, you'd cut yours off. I'm feeling real good.
You know, there were...
I was just going to say, we did something historic last night. This is the first time in 3 decades that Democrats in Virginia's House of Delegates won back-to-back elections. We grew our majority by 13 seats from 51, slim majority, 51-49, to a 64-36 seat shellacking. And so I think we're in a very, very good place right now.
How did you do it? Because let's be real clear. 2 years ago, you had a whole bunch of people in Virginia questioning your strategy, telling you they knew what was best in terms of how to win the House. And even after you squeaked out the narrow margins last year, they were still trying to tell you how it should be done. And one of the things that you kept saying is, and which I was just talking about, is focus on your base voters and drill down as local as you can.
Well, what we did was, you take a look at our caucus, the folks that won. It's probably the most diverse set of folks ever. We got rid of this outdated notion that minorities and women couldn't win in these districts. We stopped looking at identity and started looking at the people, whether they connected to the community. We have 5 new members of our Black Caucus, taking us to about 37 members in the Black Caucus out of 140 members. We focused on getting women into the caucus. We focused on the communities that have been loyal to us and that we stay loyal to them, but we also expanded our base and talked to everybody. I try to tell folks that Black people, Asian people, Latino people, they want the same thing white people want. They want good jobs, good schools, and they want to make sure that they're being heard and that their dollars are being invested in their communities the same way that everybody else does. And when we won that narrow majority 2 years ago with Joe Biden in the White House, and in Virginia, his approval ratings were similar to what Donald Trump's approval ratings are now. We ran last time with a headwind blocking, keeping us from going where we needed to go, but we won. We were running with Governor Youngkin was at a 55, 56% approval rating, and we were still able to win because we drilled down and focused on those individual races and individual communities and got the majority. This time, with Donald Trump in office and the chaos, confusion, and cruelty that he's chosen to go forward with, we had to win at our backs, and we were able to communicate with folks that we cared about affordability, wanted to make life better for Virginians, and Virginians, they trusted the Democrats to deliver. And you saw in almost we targeted 14 Republican-held seats. Last night, we won 13 of 14 Republican-held seats, and the 14th is still not decided. It's still counting ballots. It's unheard of. It's unprecedented because we ran a very disciplined, military-style campaign. My campaign co-chair is an Army guy. I'm a Navy guy. We ran a campaign that was focused on discipline, that was focused on turnout, that was focused on communication, and we overperformed because we out-communicated them in every single race, sometimes 2x, 3x, on TV, on radio, on digital. That's what we did, and that's how Democrats have a blueprint to move forward through this next cycle.
There were races you lost last time. Take Kimberly Pope Adams, 53 votes last time. What did you then do? Did you go back and say, look, let's figure out where we lost. Let's figure out the people who didn't turn out. And did y'all really sit down and study this thing precinct by precinct to understand that, you know what, we need to hit this area a lot harder to turn out? Because she didn't have a close victory this year.
She sure didn't. And that is exactly what we did, Roland. In 2021, in 23, when she lost by 53 votes. And we thought we did everything that we needed to do to get the Black community out, but we didn't. We went back, we looked at those precincts where our Black turnout was low. We looked at those precincts where some of our marginalized communities were low. And this time we were laser focused on hitting them over and over again and letting them understand what was at stake. And her turnout improved drastically in those communities. And then she had a resounding victory. It was a privilege last night to be able to call her and tell her that she had won. I was the first one to call her to say, you have won in our numbers and our modeling. You will win this election. You can call it. And you just heard her screaming because she has been running for 4 years. And the type of relief and satisfaction that she had was amazing. You got to spend some time with her. She's an amazing young lady, and we're proud to have her in our caucus.
Well, see, the reason I asked that, because this to me is the mistake that I think people keep making. I spoke to the National Panel Council on Friday in Houston. And what I said to them is, I said, can we please stop doing these broad get out the vote efforts? I said, we need to go get the data. I said, I don't care what city and what state, and break it down by precinct, then break it down by block, street, house. I said, if we're just going out there saying, hey, get out to vote, we want y'all to vote. I said, no. I said, you got to look at and say, where the vote's at? What do they say? I forgot the bank robber. Why do you rob banks? He said, that's where the money's at. Well, you got to go. You got to go where the votes are. You got to go. If you lose, you got to go where the potential votes are to win next time, and that means having a very micro strategy.
Absolutely, and I think that's what we focused on this cycle. We did it last time, but the votes weren't there. The enthusiasm was there, and we had a headwind. This time we had a tailwind. Abigail Spanberger had an unprecedented field operation. We had an unprecedented field operation, and together we were able, we outperformed Abigail Spanberger in many of these districts that we won last night because we were so laser focused on the communities that we needed to turn out that were heavy Democratic but who had felt disconnected. We reconnected with them and got them to turn out. That is how you continue to win elections. You have to do data-driven messaging. You have to do data-driven get out the vote field operations. It has to be data-driven. And I think if we continue to have the type of discipline that I think it takes and recruit the candidates, stop focusing on the perfect little candidate. Focus on people who are connected to their communities, whether they're Black, white, Asian, Latino. Focus on those folks that are connected to the community, that have a heart for service, that have the empathy to serve, and the leadership and discipline to do the work. The next thing that we did, Roland, which I think should be a model for every state delegation, we sat down with candidates. We recruited very early, 2 years out. I'm going to be recruiting for 27 starting tomorrow. We're recruiting. We're going to go and try to grow our majority. And what we did was we talked to every candidate, said, here's how many doors. Every candidate knocked over 5,000 doors themselves, not paid field, not people, the candidate knocked doors. We made sure they raised them. We gave them the resources to raise money. We gave them the time to do call time. We gave them the money that we raised to supplement what they did so that they could be free to continue to knock doors. We have a formula here. We have an MOU that we make every candidate sign. You can't get our resources. You can't get our help if you don't agree to the contract that we need to make sure that you're going to hold yourself accountable to run the type of race that we know if you do these things, you win. And last night we proved that formula. If you do those things, you win. Did I expect to win 64 seats? No. My goal was I at least get 55. But we ran so hard in so many places. We basically ran the slate, which is unheard of anywhere in the country. And I think the Democrats across the country can learn a lesson from what we did. We were bold. We were not mealy-mouthed. We were bold about what we stood, and the voters rewarded us for that boldness.
A couple of years ago, you mentioned earlier in terms of the multifaceted strategy. And a couple of years ago, I'm not going to name them, but you had some big name Democrats who questioned advertising on this network and doing town halls. And man, why are you doing that? And because they're so fixated on TV, run TV ads, run TV ads, run TV ads, thinking that's it. And we saw this even with Vice President Kamala Harris. Democrats ignored podcasts. They ignored digital shows. They were not aggressive. They weren't spending money there. They weren't understanding that people no longer are getting information the exact same. Talk about why national Democrats or candidates who are running in other parts of the country have to understand that the landscape has now changed, and you have to put money in places that you don't think may get you the biggest bang for your buck. But again, when elections come down to 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 votes, that stuff matters.
A lot of the technology that we're using now, which is why I'm so happy to be on your show tonight and why I love working with you, and talking to you and making sure that folks know, because like last night, I'm getting calls. People are watching your show last night in North Carolina and Texas and freaking my wife's family in Chicago. They're texting and calling me, watching you, and hear you speaking about. And what we need to do is understand there's a thing where we're using this technology to geofence. We know who's watching what when. And there are communities that are going to only watch Roland Martin. They trust Roland Martin. There are communities that may be doing, other podcasts, maybe doing other. We want to make sure that we're speaking everywhere. And I think it's a mistake. It's a huge mistake not to be partnering with every platform that you can to get out your message. And I think you have to be intentional about that. And you know I'm very intentional. You know that. And I cut through the red tape and make it happen. And I think that's why, another reason why we were successful, I think that's why we won in 23, because it was very slim margins. Every vote counted. As you know, we lost about 50-something votes, and we won some by slim margins. And this cycle, we overperformed because we reinvested in those same platforms, and then we got the returns for those investments. And that's why you see a 64-seat majority here in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
You're not quiet or shy. And do you plan on having some very frank conversations with the Democratic Governors Association, the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee to say, hey, y'all better sit down and listen and understand how we did this and how this can be replicated on the state and the local, the state, and the national level as well?
Well, I'm not going to tell them to sit down and listen, Roland. That's a Roland Martin.
No, you should. You should, because again, somebody needs to tell them, hey.
I'm trying to be a good example, and I'm hoping that results will speak, and I'm hoping that folks will ask, how did you get these results? Can we replicate them? And if they do, and if they ask, I'm going to tell them, and I will lay out the plan and how we need to continue to reinvest. We're going to continue these partnerships. We're going to continue these investments in and out of season, not only when there's election time, but when there's not an election. We have to continue to do that, and we continue to build credibility in communities that trust some of our messages, and you're one of them. And so I just want to make sure, I just want to thank you for having this platform, this vision to do what you're doing and take the risk that you take every day. People think that it's easy. You're really a small business that's growing into a large business. And we really want to thank you for what you've done. And we got so many other partners out there similar to what Roland Martin is doing. And we have to continue to invest because you're speaking to the community that we want to continue to keep engaged and that had been at some point, the black people came out last night. Let's be clear.
Huge.
We came out last night and we overperformed. The last number I saw was 92.8. Abigail Spanberger, think about this, outperformed Kamala Harris. We outperformed Kamala Harris in Virginia last night. And I think that's because people said, oh, heck, this dude is crazy. Oh, heck, he said he was going to lower prices. He lied to us. Everything has gone up, from the cost of housing to child care to housing supplies to restaurants, food. Everything has gone up. Health care, we can't afford it. Everything is going up. We have to have a change. And we wanted to make sure that we had given people the permission structure by communicating with them, to give them the permission structure to come and vote for us. And that's what we did. We created an environment where people will feel good to come and vote for us.
Last question before I go to my panel. The sense that I also got with what took place in Virginia is somebody made it clear to the consultants, I want to need y'all to back the hell up and let the candidates take center stage and let them be authentic and let them be themselves and stop trying to send out robots who are saying the right thing, the perfect thing, and don't want to sit here and go left or right. Because that, to me, I believe, has been the biggest problem for the Democratic Party nationally over the last decade, the control of the consultants on every facet of campaigns.
Yeah, when I took over as the minority leader in 2022, after only been in office, period, for 2 years, the first thing that I said was, this is crazy. We have consultants that they don't ask, what do you need? They ask, how much money do you have? And we'll figure out how to spend it. Like they always ask, what's your budget? They wouldn't say, what do you need? And so I totally revamped our consulting program and how we did things, made everybody do RFPs, come back and tell us what you can do, not how much money we have, but what do you need for us to be successful? Then we spent a lot of energy getting the right candidates. And I think that's what we've been able to do. I'm hopeful that other folks will model this. You don't have to do it the old way. You can do it differently. In fact, I'm going to redo my RFP process. I'm going to make everybody come back and rebid again.
Boom.
To work with us in 2 years so I can get fresh blood. People get comfortable. We all do. We need to make sure people still understand that they need to be hungry. We need to have cutting edge. We need to have cutting edge thinking. And so I think if we do that, we continue to grow and be fresh in whatever the challenging environment might be politically.
Questions for the panel. Rebecca, you first.
Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. So I want to talk about voting rights restoration in Virginia. We saw this past session that there was passage on the constitutional amendment in Virginia for automatic voting rights restoration. I understand there has to be a second reference, meaning it has to pass again in the next session, and then that can go to the ballot for fall 2026. Can you tell me why it's so important to have automatic voter registration in the state of Virginia?
Automatic voter restoration. So
yes.
I had my own rights restored, and I had to beg the governor to do it. I had, there's nothing about my background that says I should be here. I should not be in leadership. I'd gone to federal prison, 31 years ago. And here I stand as the first Black Speaker of the House here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I did 8 years in federal prison almost, and folks told me my life was over, and I just didn't believe it. And I think and I was, coming out, I'm paying taxes, I'm doing everything, but I can't vote, which is ridiculous. I'm paying, in some instances, I was paying, $1 million in taxes, but I can't vote. Think about how ludicrous that is. You're contributing, you're taking care of your family, and you don't have the franchise to have a say in your future. Everybody deserves to have a franchise once they complete their sentence. That's what this constitutional amendment would do, so we can have everybody vote. And that's why we're going to pass this, and we're going to get it done. Because there are too many people who feel disconnected from the system. They feel they're walking around with their heads down. Family know that they can't vote and can't engage and can't let their voices be heard. Every American that's paying taxes, that's contributing to society, deserves to have their voice heard. And that's what we're going to do here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And it's going to pass because it's popular. People know it's fair and it's right.
Niambi?
Yeah, so congratulations on last evening. I mean, that was quite a feat. But one of the people that didn't get talked about as much was Ghazala Hashmi. So how do you encourage more Ghazala Hashmis? I mean, it's certainly clear that women in leadership is something that Virginians have an appetite for. So how do you expand that?
I mean, congratulations to Ghazala Hashmi. She did a great job. She served as a state senator, and I've worked with her for the last several years. She was able to pull it off. I think if you look at the leadership that was affirmed last night, it's probably it's not probably. It is the most diverse leadership group in Virginia's history. A first female governor, a first Muslim American lieutenant governor, and first African American attorney general. So there was a night of first for Virginia. I think seeing Ghazala Hashmi in that role is going to encourage others to step in and know that they can do it, that if they're competent, if they're smart and they work hard, they can achieve anything. And so last night was proof positive that, this whole anti-DEI stuff, we don't care about no DEI. We are excellent. We're going to continue to rise. We're going to continue to shine. And cream is always going to rise to the top. You can try to beat us down, but we're going to rise to the top. And I think last night was an indication of that.
Cameron.
Congratulations, Speaker Scott. Last night was huge in Virginia. I live in D.C., so seeing our fellow state down there, and to your point, the diversity of the top of the ticket. But I was energized by your exchange with Roland earlier about how you went about identifying new talent, identifying new tactics, and pairing that to the right types of candidates. How do you, the rest of the country could learn from this? And as the owner of a digital and an ad firm for the last 15 years, I recognize when wins happen, sometimes the best lessons are not learned. Do you plan to do more learnings or teachings with other states, other candidates, other caucuses? Because they really, Roland mentioned it earlier in the show, we really got to learn from how people really engaged and really study these campaigns, both study the candidates and study their messaging, but also study their strategies and tactics on how we communicate it to all voters.
Yeah, I thank you for that. I'm going to continue. Every opportunity I get, I try to give people the blueprint on what we did. It's not rocket science. I try to tell people, hit the easy button, bro. Hit the easy button. You get the right candidates, you go out and recruit candidates. You spend the energy up front. You put the investment up front on identifying the right candidate in the community, then making sure that they have all of the tools around them to succeed. And then you help deliver the messaging and do it across I call it asymmetric messaging. Like you hitting everything, digital, TV, radio, doing what you can if you have the resources. And then you plan in advance and you map it out. I think, I told my caucus today, everybody was celebrating. And I said, cool, let's celebrate. But the election for 27 starts today. So that means everything that we do, we have to be intentional. What we pass, what policies we pushing, what we want to message. It began today for the next election in 2 years. If we continue to have that type of discipline and focus and, dare I say, restraint, we'll grow and we'll keep it. Make sure I want an enduring majority. When we won the majority in 2023, I said, if you don't do it twice, it's a fluke. Well, I proved it's not a fluke. Now I want an enduring majority, which means, we can continue to grow. We can hold on to this majority. I want to win the governor's mansion in 4 years. I want us to keep that governor's mansion. But you have to be intentional right now, thinking about what it is, what's that look like. And that's what I'm trying to focus our caucus on and focus our leadership team. And I'm happy to have those conversations with everybody. I do talk to leadership across the country, and I do say these things, but, I can only control my house. I can't be controlling other folks' house. It's hard enough to control my house.
All right, then. Well, again, congratulations. Huge pickups last night.
06, baby.
Absolutely. Well, that's how alphas roll. That's how we do it. These little sigmas and omegas running around here, they don't know. All right. Speaker Scott, appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right. Love you, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Folks, going to a break. We'll come back. Headlines and more to talk about right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Back in a moment.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. The United States is the most dangerous place for a woman to give birth among all industrialized nations on the planet. Think about that for a second. That's not all. Black women are 3 times more likely to die in this country during childbirth than white women.
These healthcare systems are inherently racist. There are a lot of white supremacist ideas and mythologies around black women's bodies, even black people, that we experience painless, right?
Activist, organizer, and fearless freedom fighter Monifa Akinwole Bandele from Moms Rising joins us and tells us this shocking phenomenon, like so much else, is rooted in unadulterated racism. And that's just one of her fights. Monifa Bandele on the next Black Table here on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
This week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're continuing our series of putting in the work, A Chef's Journey. Are you an aspiring chef? Someone who already has a business, trying to figure out what your next steps will be, who to talk to, and how to get there? Well, on this week's show, our great guests and wonderful chefs will talk to you about what it means to discover your purpose, your why of being in the kitchen, and then knowing how to put a business together.
The menu controls everything. The menu determines everything. But the business plan is where you have to go back to.
When you get into the business, at the end of the day, social media and TV, all of that stuff is cool, but you still have to run a business. You still have to be in relationship with people.
That's all next on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
If in this country right now, You have people get up in the morning, and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power. That's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
Hey, I'm Malcolm Lee, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, lots more to break down. Here's Brittany Noble with headlines.
Roland, an Ohio jury began hearing testimony in the trial of an Ohio police officer accused of killing a black 21-year-old woman who was 6 months pregnant. She was in a Kroger parking lot. 31-year-old Connor Grubbs is on trial for killing Takia Young in a Kroger parking lot. He's facing several charges, including murder, involuntary manslaughter, and felonious assault. The November 2023 encounter was captured on body camera and store surveillance video. Police say a Kroger employee reported that several people were fleeing from the store with stolen items. Video shows an officer ordering Young to get out of her car, and moments later, as she turned the wheel and began to move forward, the officer fired a single shot. Prosecutors say they plan to call nearly 80 witnesses, and the trial is expected to last 3 weeks. Well, Maryland Moore launches redistricting commission. Get this, Maryland Governor Wes Moore is stepping right into a political storm over redistricting. He's launching a new commission that could redraw the state's congressional maps ahead of the 2026 midterms. Moore says it's about fairness and representation, but even some Democrats are not on board. State Senate President Bill Ferguson warns reopening the maps mid-cycle could backfire and actually help Republicans gain seats through court challenges. The new Redistricting Advisory Commission will be led by Senator Angela Alsop-Brooks, with former Attorney General Brian Frosh and Cumberland Mayor Ray Morris joining the team. And right now, Democrats control all but one congressional district in Maryland, but with GOP-led states like Texas, Missouri, and North Carolina already redrawing their maps, national Democrats are pushing back, hoping states like Maryland, Virginia, and even California can help level the playing field. Well, the Department of Transportation now says parts of America's airspace could be forced to close next week if the government shutdown drags on. Nearly half of the nation's busiest airports are facing severe staffing shortages, with 13,000 air traffic controllers and 50,000 TSA officers still working without pay. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is sounding the alarm, warning that unless Congress acts, mass chaos, ground stops, and waves of flight delays and cancellations could all hit nationwide. In New York, some facilities report 80% of controllers out, driving delays across thousands of flights today alone. Duffy says frontline aviation workers are stretched to the breaking point. making desperate choices between paying bills and keeping our skies safe. Roland?
All right, Brittany, we appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. All right, y'all. So Brittany was just talking about what's happening in Maryland. Oh, my God. Y'all know I love me some Senator Louise Lucas. Oh, my goodness. And so the Republican in Maryland, Brittany referenced, the Senate president, made this statement that, in terms of, these districts were fair. And so this was the tweet, y'all. This is so funny. So Bill Ferguson posted this tweet. He go to my iPad. He goes, tonight's resounding Democratic victory shows we don't need to rig the system to win. When we provide a better vision about the future, lower cost, better services, and real solutions to protect against Trump, voters overwhelmingly choose our leadership. Well, Louise Lucas, Niambi, she didn't no, go back. Please, stay on it. She goes, get our victory in Virginia out of your mouth while you echo MAGA talking points, grow a pair, and stand up to this president. This is just embarrassing. See, that's the kind of energy, Niambi, I need. Here's Louise Lucas telling this Democrat in Maryland, stop punking out.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, the only reason the rule of law matters is if people respect it. And I think what people are sick of, and this again is why the Democrats who won in some of those places won, is because they're tired of this sort of mealy-mouthed kind of politics where we do the right thing, right? When they go low, we go high. People are sick of it. People want some fight, right? People want someone to look like they're trying. This is why Gavin Newsom and Prop 50 have resonated with people, because it's like, you know what? They play dirty, we play dirty. Now, whether this is a good strategy or not is beside the point. It's what people want to see. People want to know that when we are in a gunfight, you're not bringing a knife. This is a slugfest. And if you're just going to keep speaking in platitudes, what are you really doing here? Are you up for the fight? Because the Republicans brook no punches and they don't do half measures. And so you need to be talking about this redistricting the same way they talked about the Department of Education for some people. And that's, I think, a point that is often missed, right? Whether you agree is beside the point. But do you look like you have some fight in you? If it's not redistricting, what is the alternative?
Well, here's what I also love about Louise Lucas. So, Cameron, yesterday, a lot of these right-wingers were trying to say that embattled candidate Jay Jones, who won, who beat Jason Mayars, said that he was, trying to kick a dog. Well, actually, he wasn't. What he was doing was he was trying to kick a leaf away. All right? So check this out. So Louise went ahead and just posted this video here of, Jay kicking her opponent. Listen, watch this. So of course, they get mad at her all the time. This was the video. This here, she posted this AI video because, she's always kicking Governor Glenn Youngkin's ass. So check this out. She posted this.
Virginia, you made a huge mistake electing Youngkin. I needed a knee replacement from keeping my foot up his ass over the last 4 years. Now, we can do better. Get out and vote and elect Abigail Spanger tomorrow.
And lastly, Cameron, that famous video when Youngkin was standing outside of the state capitol complaining about Lucas blocking the building of a stadium for the Washington Wizards. So she just went ahead and posted this. Hold on, wait 1 second. This is because this was the okay. First of all, go to my iPad. So this was the famous photo of her standing there, looking out as he held a news conference. So they went ahead and made this video right here. See, that's what I'm saying, Cameron. That's how, when you an 82-year-old black woman who knows how to use your power, she don't give a damn.
I'm super encouraged by that. I think that is AI gone right. We've seen so much AI go wrong, used for misinformation. What I do appreciate what she's doing with her content and with her voice and her platform is she understands people want to be entertained. And if I'm scrolling and I got to see this talking baby, or I got to use the little app that makes me dance, at least it gives people a little chuckle and joy, but it also gives people a little bit of nugget of information, or it alerts them and makes them more aware in real time. So I hope people understand the balance she's striking with the content, but it actually made me chuckle as well.
Listen, she don't give a damn. And this actually was the original video when she posted on Twitter. This was March 7, 2024. Even when I was close to the feet, I rose to my feet. So this here was the video. Youngkin was sitting here complaining outside of the Capitol, and then the cameraman had one job, and he did it. Let's go ahead and pan over here to Louise. Oh, I love it. I love it. But Rebecca, I love the fact that she went after the Senate president in Maryland by saying, grow a pair.
You know, did the Senate president actually whip his caucus to see if they were on board with his point of view?
I don't know what he did.
And here's the other thing. Can I just say one petty thing about Virginia? So apparently the lady who snitched and Jay Jones also lost.
All right, hold on. Who's typing? We can hear all that typing. All right, go ahead. All right, Cameron, stop typing. We can pick it up. We can hear. It's picking up all that typing, bruh. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Okay, so the lady who snitched on Jay Jones and revealed the text message exchange.
Oh yeah,
the controversy. She lost last night.
Oh, hold on. Well, hold on. Glad you hold up. She posted something for that too. Here you go. She posted this. Virginia is for lovers, not snitches. Go ahead, Rebecca.
I hadn't seen that yet.
And you remember when Winsome Sears' bus caught on fire? This is what Louise posted this morning with good morning. Oh, I love the petty. I love it. Okay, go ahead.
Roland, this is why I call responsive politics. If you want to get people engaged, then you got to get engaged and you got to be real about it. And guess what? A lot of people are petty. And when it comes to what's happening in our politics, some people need to respond by being petty. So I'm here for it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I love it. But, yo, I got to admit, that was cold. Virginia is for lovers, not snitches. Oh, man, that was good. Oh, that was good. So I love it. I love it. Like, this is a bold black woman who ain't afraid to use the power. And that's what I'm talking about. Listen, when I had on the show Monday, she said, that's right, my knee feeling better. She said, my leg feeling good because I had my foot up Glenn Youngkin's ass. And we were in a church. She don't care. I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's what I want to see. I want to see more of it because this is where we are. What people are asking around the country, Niami, they're saying to Democrats, damn it, are you going to fight? Are you going to swing? If you're going to lose, damn it, at least lose fighting. But don't sit here and be all weak and silent about this thing.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's what most of the polling is showing, at least, is that people don't just view Democrats as too concerned about identity politics. That's not the thing. People view them as weak. And even if, the opposition is not offering a coherent message, is splintered as it is, they're at least willing to fight. And it might mean that it takes them 40 years or 60 years to dismantle Roe v. Wade or the Voting Rights Act, but they keep trying. And I think the thing with Democrats is they have been loath to do that out of some belief in the norms and trying to uphold the norms. And that has its place, but it only works again if people respect the norms. And we've seen time and time again that the opposition to Democrats and that they face don't care about the rules. They don't care how things look. They don't care that they have, reelected a 34-time convicted felon. Like, I never want to hear people talk anything else about Marion Barry and black people voting for him in DC again after this, right? They don't care. And I think that's one of the things that frustrates people, is because you all are still playing by a playbook that is outdated, outmoded, and just not useful. You want people who look like they are here for the fight. And Louise Lucas right now is doing that. Like I said, there are other people who are doing it. And I think if more Democrats got that message, they will be farther along than they are right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, folks. Speaking of going at it, I saw this video and I said, I got to run this. So, Republican Speaker Mike Johnson goes before the camera today trying to say Mom Donnie is now the face of the Democratic Party and all this sort of nonsense. And so he's just talking. Well, guess what? Democratic Congresswoman Chrissy Houlihan of Maine, she said, you know what? Damn that. I'm going to let his ass know I'm here. Go ahead and roll it.
Thank you. Okay, questions? Yes, go ahead. I've called on somebody else. Go ahead. We're having a press conference. Thank you. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am. And you should respect free speech. What's the question? I can't hear you because we have someone who doesn't respect the rights of their colleagues over here. I'd love to talk with you. Wait. I'd love to talk with you. Come to my office, okay?
You have an obligation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about it. I've been doing that. We did that before the shutdown began. We went to the White House. We went and sat in front of the Resolute desk. We brought Leader Jeffries and Leader Schumer in, and we had a discussion. The president said, please don't shut the government down. It would cause all this pain to the American people. This has never happened before. It's a clean, nonpartisan CR that every Democrat, including you, voted no on September 19th. You voted to shut down the government. You voted to stop SNAP benefits. You voted to not pay the troops, not pay TSA, Border Patrol. You may regret it now, but that's your vote, and it's on the record. So the president had us in, and they didn't want to have a dialogue or debate. They thumbed their nose in it, at him, and he had to do it. Appreciate it. Thanks for your input. Somebody give me a question that's real.
The other side. You represent
I can't hear you because we have someone who doesn't respect the rights of their colleagues.
You have an obligation not just to speak.
I'd love to talk with you. Wait. I'd love to talk with you. Come to my office, okay?
You have to call the leadership of both parties and bring us together and solve this problem together.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about it. I've been doing that. We did that before the shutdown began. We went to the White House. We went and sat in front of the Resolute desk. We brought Leader Jeffries and Leader Schumer in, and we had a discussion. The president said, please don't shut the government down. It would cause all this pain to the American people.
See, to me, that's what you do, Rebecca. Say, damn, I ain't going to make your shit comfortable. I'm going to make it uncomfortable. I'm down with her. Show up at every Mike Johnson news conference. Say, hey, you lying? It was like when Trump came to NABJ. I said the night before, I said, Donald Trump start lying, I'm going to say his ass a liar. And when he was there, people were like, Roland, was that you? I was like, that was me going, he lying. He lying. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's what I need to see, Rebecca.
And look what we saw next. When Capitol Police approached her, she showed them her congressional pin and said, I'm a member of Congress. And guess what they did? They backed off.
Turn they punk asses around.
Yes, I need members of Congress to use their privilege here. Look, this isn't the streets of New Jersey where it's ICE agents who aren't respecting the rule of law. This is still Capitol Hill. And that Capitol Hill police force, they understand who supports them and who doesn't support them. So at the end of the day, I need every member of the opposition to do this each time you have the speaker trying to subterfuge and not answer questions on what's really happening for the American people.
Cameron?
No, this was a great example, and this is a great example of how to use that congressional privilege. We hear so many people who say they want to see our leaders fighting back, but they don't see everything that happens in every corner of America when they may be in their own districts. But when you have all the cameras of the country focused on the Speaker of the House, and for you to be able to yell out he's lying, peacefully demonstrate, maybe not so peacefully demonstrate, to cause a ruckus, to make sure your voices are heard, that is exactly how they need to go about doing it. And then if they were smart, they'd have more members out there calling out the lies, and immediately once it's over, hey, press, come over here and talk to us. This is actually what he was lying about, and continue that. But people need to see way more of that, and way more of that direct confrontation, especially in these times.
Yambi?
Absolutely. I mean, decorum for what? This is not the time to be polite. People are hurting. People are hungry. People are tired. People want to be productive. People want to be paid for the labor that they're producing. This is the time to actually show up and show out for real, right? Make your voice count, make it worth something. And again, you're not passing bills right now. You're not doing anything else. Why not be in DC applying pressure to Mike Johnson and his cronies who would sit there and tell a lie like, well, we asked them not to, and we told them that this would hurt the American people. The pain is the point. That's why they keep doing stuff like this. That's why they have ICE in the streets. That's why they're deploying National Guard in contradistinction to what the mission of the National Guard is. That's why they're denying FEMA funds to Maryland for assistance with flooding, right? That's why they're doing all of this stuff. So they absolutely need to have more of a presence at all of these events. I mean, the time for acting like this is business as usual and this is normal time is way overdue. We need to leave that behind.
Absolutely. And last story before we go, I got to talk about this here. Shout out to the black folks in Mississippi. Last night,
Absolutely.
2 black state senators were elected. Republicans no longer have a supermajority there. That's now 36-34. They now have to negotiate and work with Democrats on various measures. This is from the Mississippi Free Press. Mississippi Democrats break Republican Senate supermajority. We are a battleground state. You look at this story right here. This was absolutely historic. Johnny Dupree, he of course was one of the folks. He won Senate District 45, and then also Teresa Gillespie Isom won as well. Here's the thing. Look at this right here, y'all. Republicans have held a supermajority in the Senate since 2019, have held majorities in both chambers of the legislature since we've been in the 2011 elections. But here's the other thing that we have to thank. We have to thank, Niamey, the lawyers. Mm-hmm. This happened because of lawsuits, because of the Voting Rights Act, because the federal courts ruled that they basically were screwing over black voters when it came to electing representatives. And so this is what happened. This is how this happened, picking up those 2 seats. That's huge, huge, huge. And of course, the two Democrats, including one African American who won the Public Service Commission job in Georgia, same thing as well. And so we really have got, and this, we talk about this all the time. This is not just about voting. It's not just about marching and protesting. You got to have a legal strategy, a political strategy, a citizenship education strategy in order to win. Niamey, you first.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party knew, right? This is what Fannie Lou Hamer and them knew, right? That these black people are energized. They understand what is happening to them in their state, and they need people to step up for them, right? Because it's not, like you said, always going to be about a vote. But this is something we've known about places like Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, all of these black belt states for a long time. Black folks in those states are difference makers. They just have been disenfranchised over and over and over again. And just because something is legal doesn't make it right. And finally, you actually had black folks break through in the state of Mississippi. So I am hoping, right, that the Democratic Party is taking note and put some resources in these places and stop treating any of these states as foregone conclusions. We've seen what can happen in Mississippi, but even Georgia a few years ago with Stacey Abrams, in Florida a few years ago with Andrew Gillum. We know it's possible, right? But you have to keep those people motivated and energized. And you also have to provide the resources so that the state and the apparatus of the state doesn't continue to disenfranchise and really screw over the black voters in those states, because they really are a sleeping giant in that state. When you think about their youth and their coverage in those states, those black folks are a power to be reckoned with, not to mention all the students in those states. You mobilize those sectors of those electorates, and those places are real power brokers.
Absolutely. Cameron?
You saw me rooting like this for Mississippi because I've been screaming to the high heavens that Mississippi, for a state that has the highest percentage of African Americans in the country, should always be a battleground state for Democrats. And so I'm encouraged about energy, and I'm really hoping some of this energy translates forward into next year's Senate race, where I know the Democrats are running Scott Colomb, a young black brother out of Mississippi, against Lindy Height-Smith, who's objectively one of the most racist senators out there. And I'm hoping that this energy can translate into winning a seat and showing people that Mississippi is viable, and black folks and not just people who and Democrats across the state are going to stand up. So I'm really hoping this energy translates and rolls into 2026.
Rebecca?
For Black folks in Mississippi to actually have the representation that they deserve and that they want permanently, we still have to go back to that 1890 Mississippi Constitution, which permanently disenfranchised certain classes of convicted felons, and they picked and chose 23 felony crimes that Black people were more likely to be convicted of. Not that Black people are more likely to actually do and perpetrate, but these are the things in which Black people can more easily be convicted on in the state of Mississippi. And so to Cameron's point, based upon the 40% Black electorate in Mississippi, there should be a lot more Black representation in the state of Mississippi. But until there's a move to get rid of some of those racist disenfranchisement laws that's been on the books in Mississippi the last 135 years, we're still going to see a cycle of people having to scrape and claw just to get the barest part of representation in Mississippi.
Absolutely. And this right here is Teresa Gillespie Isom. So shout out to her as well. I will close it out with this here. Big win last night. First female mayor of Detroit's history, Mary Sheffield. She comes from a long family of civil rights activists there in Detroit. Her grandfather, her father, she took home 77% of the vote, beating Pastor Solomon Kinlock Jr. And she, of course, was been on city council for years, became council president in 2022. Here is some of her speech last night.
But tonight, Detroit, we know that changes. And you changed it, Detroit. And I think back to that 8-year-old girl from the west side of Detroit, whose third grade teacher at the time, Mrs. Pappas, she wrote on my evaluation that she saw a gift in her, a gift for leading others. And that little girl's life from that moment on will continue to be shaped by service. And so she dared to dream that she too could make a difference in this city. And tonight, she stands here proudly as the first woman ever elected to lead this great city. And now I have the awesome responsibility of ensuring that I will not be the last. Will not be the last. I don't take for granted that I stand on the shoulders of so many warrior women who have prayed, who have sacrificed just for us to be here in this moment. And so I say to every little girl watching tonight, and to every child in this city, never doubt yourself. You are gifted. You are powerful. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. No mountain is too high for you to climb. No dream is too big for you to realize. And if you believe and truly believe, all things are possible.
Folks, said in Georgia, the Marietta mayoral race, the unofficial winner is Steve Thunder Tumlin, predicted to secure his fifth term with less than 100 votes over 24-year-old challenger Sam Foster. Again, just under 100 votes separating the two in the tight race. Final totals could still shift as absentee provisional ballots are counted. Voters have until Friday to provide the necessary documentation to validate those ballots. All counties must certify the official 2025 election results by Monday, November 10th. 78-year-old Tumlin will serve his final term under term limits passed in 2017, which limited consecutive terms but allowed him to run again this year. All right, folks, that is it for us. Let me thank Nyambe, Cameron, and Rebecca been on today's show. Thank you so very much, folks. We appreciate y'all watching as well. Hey, YouTube people, y'all should be hitting that like button. All right, we should easily be at 2,000 likes. And so if y'all want to support the work that we do us a favor. First of all, you should be sharing, posting on all social media our videos. Just go to our YouTube channel, click videos, share those videos because those views generates revenue that pays the bills. If you want to contribute to our Bring the Funk fan club, you can do so by contributing via Cash App. That's right. Use the Stripe QR code. You see at the bottom left-hand corner. You can also use the Stripe QR code for credit cards. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Checks and money order. P.O. Box 571. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196. Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, The Browning of America, is making white folks lose their minds. Available at bookstores nationwide. Get the audio version. I've written on Audible. You can get it online as well. You want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swags. For instance, the shirt that I'm wearing right here, FAFO 2025 with Project Crossed Out. Or the other shirts you can get. MAGA chose between woke or broke. They chose broke. Also, hashtag Black Owned Media Matters. All of our shirts, hats, mugs, all that good stuff. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Shopblackstarnetwork.com. Now, all of these products to my left, these are all black-owned, thank you, all black-owned products right here, folks. Again, we got relishes and gym wraps. You've got stuffings here. You got HBCU shirts, car wash stuff, black puzzles, and all kind of stuff. Hair care, skincare products. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. These are all black-owned businesses, and you can support them at shopblackstarnetwork.com. And don't forget, if you want to, first of all, download the app Fanbase. Download app Fanbase if you want to invest. Isaac Hayes III announced today they've hit $13.6 billion. Their goal is to raise $17 million in the Series A raise, and that's where they are right now. So if you want to invest, get more information at startengine.com/fanbase. Folks, that's it. I appreciate all of y'all watching. Share the video. Tell people to watch the rebroadcast, support this show, because ain't nobody else doing what we do here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. We got some new shows coming along. We got some new products coming along. We're going to be on the road next year as well. And so one of the reasons why we want you to give, we're looking at making some additional hires. And so this is all about improving what we do and expanding the news and content that we share with you, including retooling BlackStarNetwork.com. I hope to unveil that tomorrow or Friday. We're working on it. We just had to work out some kinks. And so all those things are happening right now. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla!